Welcome back to Purpose Discovery with Adek Bassey. This is episode 7. Previously, we have shown you how you should discover your purpose, why you should discover your purpose. We've set the foundation on purpose discovery for you. We've also shown you scripturally the ways, what the scripture says about discovering and living purpose. And you have likely seen where you fit in among the categories of persons that you belong to in living your own purpose. And today will be a different ball game. Today we're going to be showing you a life story of how someone has gone through the journey of discovering and living purpose. Sadly, the fact is, research has shown, and even by personal observation and interaction with clients, we have seen that 85% of persons are feeling so unfulfilled in the work that they do and in their daily lives. Not because they lack the capacity, the competency, the skills, but it's just because there was an element of them not being clear on who they are before making those life decisions. And right now, they feel so stuck, they're just existing, trying to survive. And deep down, they know that they're not finding fulfillment, right? And this is like a common thing that we have seen in relationship, in workspaces, in education setting, across all board. If this really feels like you as well, relax. Today we'll get to remove that shield from your eyes. Today you will leave this episode knowing that you can also do it as well. Are you ready? We are diving into the real life journey of someone who embodies what it means to live with intentionality, committed to her life from her teenage age to her 30s, and still ready to go all in living purpose till death do her part. Can you imagine such a decision? Sharing this life story with you will make you see the journey, the struggle, the pains, the profit, and everything that comes with living purpose. I'm not just a passionate speaker around purpose discovery. I'm not just a life coach on purpose discovery, but I have, by privilege, been able to help over 100 persons right now gain clarity around who they are, which has informed their choices. Some of them have gone back to their drawing board, their blueprint, to go back on a pathway that aligns with who they are, cutting across their job, their career, their relationship, and every aspect of life. So, this is something that is beyond just a talk. It is a fact. It is a reality. It is why we are here. And I'm sure you're trying to guess I'm sure you're trying to guess who this guest is. Who is this person's story that you're going to hear today? All right, the moment to unveil this guest is here. I wish this was a live session. I would have said, guess who is coming up on board. To cut that out, the guest for today that is telling her story of the entire journey of living purpose is no other person than Adek Bassey Osaveshe. My goodness. Yeah, and of course, that's me. And the reason why I'm sharing my own story today is not because I'm just a host, it's because there is a story that you need to hear. Hearing the story will make you relate to the story, will give you all the confidence and everything that you need to embark on your own journey. So let's dive in. Are you ready? Okay. So, finding purpose started with my own curiosity in trying to find who I was from when I was a teenager. I was always curious. I was always interested to know, who am I? Why was I born to this family? Why am I here on earth? What am I supposed to do? I was very observant of my environment, the people around me. I read a lot of Bible stories. I was so curious to know. That means everybody here on earth is meant to do one assignment to another. So it made me that every time I am adding a new age to my life, I'm always curious to ask God in prayers, God. So that I'm able to tell God that, God, if you don't show me who I am, and I also come here and make mistakes and live my life till I die, and I come back to you and you tell me, oh, you didn't do what I sent you to do, that I was telling God, I will not be happy with you. I see myself in hellfire because I did not do your assignment. That I will not be happy with you because I was always asking you, show me who I was. That's how deep I had conversations with God. And the curiosity was my drive in finding me. And at that stage of when I was having all of this curiosity, there were certain things that looked like setback that should have stopped me. You know, I love to tell people things that will make their life better, starting from my own household. When I see my mom and my dad probably having one or two issues or trying to say something or do something, immediately I used to have these divine ideas and solutions that there's something I would tell them that if they do it, it will make the result they are struggling to get better. It will bring peace. It will just give birth to that result. So, and I was also stammering, right? But I always write a note and maybe slip the note to my dad's hand or whoever is there to, whoever that message I have is for. And then stand in front of you and watch you read that message. And by the time you read that message and do what I wrote or what I said through that note, you will see that, oh, yeah, yeah, you will just see the result show out. And that was really exciting for me. And then in the village where I grew up, I saw that it was okay for girls to have boyfriends at teenage age, get pregnant. It was a competition. You don't have a boyfriend yet. You don't have a boyfriend yet. In secondary school, it was like a thing of achievement at that age. And even if peradventure you get pregnant, even their mothers used to celebrate their pregnancy. Because I noticed that every December, if your daughter has, let's say, two kids from two different men, that December time is cash out. Your mother will say, hey, John Papa don't bring groundnut oil. This one don't bring rice. So it was like a healthy competition for them. And the girls that were supposed to be punished were like, yeah, my boyfriend A is bringing this. My boyfriend B is bringing this. And for the rest of us that were not joining them to get pregnant, it looked like we were either not fertile or we are not showing that we were going to be women. That was their narrative, right? And my own home, I saw that my parents did not finish their own school and I wanted to finish my own school. So all of this kind of curiosity made me search for me. And while in school, I was also very careful. From my junior secondary school class, just 3 to SS1, that's where you make the choice of do you want to be arts student or a science student. I was always checking in with myself. Why should I be an art student? Why should I be a science student? What exactly do I want to do? I was asking teachers deep questions. If I do science subject now, what will it enable me to become? So because I asked, they sit down with me and start telling me the different field under science, and I have to make my pick based on who I felt that I was. So that search was my drive. And every year I was adding age in my teenage age. I actually got into school quite early, 13 going on for 14 years. And now this is where some of us struggle with this decision because sometimes we're not even curious to ask who are we. We just jump into art courses or science courses at that age. Some people jump in because their friends are in science class or they are doing this course or their mother said or their parents said, you have to be a doctor for us. You have to be this. So they start prepping you to be something that is not even in alignment with who you are. The gifting I had from parenting, my parents were, they allow you, to choose what you want to do. If I come back and change what I want to do 10 times, my dad will not have a problem. He will say, as long as this thing you want to do makes you happy, that's fine. So I got admission. Everybody celebrated I got admission to microbiology. While in year one, of course, year one, you will study regular science courses, biology and all. While there, I was still asking senior students of microbiology, lecturers, where will I work? What will I do with this course? They started telling me I'll be in the lab, I'll be this. This dragged into year two. Year two, I got it clear that if you study microbiology, of course, most of your aspect of service is to find out the root causes of a disease or bacteria. You're just around lab. So I said that was not me. And in year two, I left the department. Now, you imagine how your parents will react after sending you to school, paying your one school fees and probably your two school fees, and you say you're not doing it again. I went in to another school, wrote again for entrance, and I got admitted into environmental health, which is a preventive medicine. And the knowledge I had then was that environmental health will enable you program for preventive issues. You can prevent environmental issues, diseases. So I felt like, oh, that was prevention. So I could tell somebody, clean your gutter, use mosquito net, and you're not going to have malaria or you're not going to be sick. And I loved it. Year one, year two, year three. Year two went for our IT, and I joined the NAFDAC team, going to the supermarket to check for expired products. I felt good about what I was doing, right? But that school also exposed me to seeing that there was a club known as the HIV club then. And I admired people that knew how to talk around HIV conversations, but I had the stammering impairment thing that was my barrier because I only know how to write what I want to say. But luckily, maybe because of, not luckily, because of my consistent prayer with God, asking for, my prayer was, God, order my steps to the right place, to the right people at the right time. Let me do only the things that will support who I am and what you sent me here to do. And God answered my prayer. He sent someone in my year two who asked me a question, and that question needed me to talk. And I tried going back to my writing approach to, like, okay, this is what I want to do. And the person said I should express it. He now realized that I had speaking impairments. I was struggling. Maybe I was timid. A lot of things were just factors that I couldn't really express myself the way I'm doing right now. And he played Aquila and the Spelling Bee movie for me. And then I watched the movie, and he told me to look at the hand wrap. So I watched the movie with so much keen interest. I saw how, I mean, if you've not watched that movie, go watch the movie. I saw how she used her hand to spell words, to remember words. And he told me, now it's time for you to use your hands to control your speech flow, using the mirror, that you have what to say. He just believed in me as if he knew what I was created to do. So we started doing mirror practice with this guy. He will make me to talk to him. I'll use my hands. My name is Adek. Till I started using my hand to make my speech flow easily. To cut the whole story short, I actually learned how to talk and express myself better with the help of that guy. His name is Williams. And I was able to overcome that. And he put me on a spot, nominated me for the president of the HIV club because he said I have fantastic ideas on how to run prevention programs on HIV, knowing that the school had a prevalent issue of the girls that came from rural communities to study. They were now into body trading. It's a way of survival in school as a girl. You can cash out with your body, by their perspective on how to get funds in school. So it was a common practice. There was an increase on planned pregnancy everywhere. There were disease, HIV contraction almost occurring whenever they do testing in the school. So it was an issue. And he said I had ideas that I could address this issue. That was how, from nomination to voting, and I became the president of the club. And I had to do programs. I had to talk, of course. And it led to me designing amazing program all through my time studying environmental health. And I never knew I was implementing a Canadian project that was funded by one Canada agency. And they came at the closeout of the project when the funder came to interact with the students behind the scene of this project. By the time she heard me share about the project and heard me talk, she was the one that God used to say, Adek, I don't know if Nigeria has a course called public health, but listening to you and seeing the track record of the work that you did on HIV prevention program, you are public health personified. That you should look for that course and just personalize who you are because you are public health. And public health is the motherboard umbrella of preventing programming. Has she mentioned that? This Adek was almost wrapping up her year 4 to enter year 4 class in environmental health study. I started looking for schools that offer public health in Nigeria. Luckily for me, 3 schools at that time were running public health: Ebonyi, Ibadan, and University of Calabar. and looking for how to get into entry is either through direct entry form or writing jam again. Guess what this Adek, who was so in search of herself, did? I bought the two types of entry means. I bought direct entry form and I bought jam form again. And I called my mom with excitement that, Mommy, I'm going back to another school when I finish this. She was like, I'm done with you. You're not the only child that we have. There are other kids that should go to school as well. Those were her words. I told her, okay, no problem. Can you just be sending me food? I will find my way into the school I want to go. She said, no problem. I'll be sending food to you and all of those things. My dear listeners, in fact, this decision made me to go back to the school provost and ask that, what if I want to work out with what I have without finishing this environmental health? Because I don't want to be an environmental health officer. I went and did my research to know what environmental health career journey looks like. There were levels of professional exams to another. And at the end, you will be an environmentalist, good job and all, but that was not me. So when I realized that the future, the end, doesn't align with who I was and who I wanted to become, I asked the provost that, can I walk away without finishing this course? He said, okay, if you walk away, that means you only get ND certification. And that was me in my year four. I said, no problem. As long as I got that validation from the provost himself, I left. My lecturers, my colleagues, you were the talk of the school. Mockery here and there. It was like, what kind of decision is this that you're making? What happened to your school fees? Why not just finish and go for NYC and get a job? A lot of people trying to say things to you, at that point on when you're trying to make your decision around who you are. But guess what? I ignored it. I went to an MTN office, asked them that I want to join their marketing team so they can give me MTN SIM to go and market on the street and sell, so I could raise my jam money of 9,500 at that time. Luckily, God is in the picture if you embark on your journey. I got a slot and I sold the SIM and bought the jam form, wrote the jam, and believed God for the admission. While waiting for the admission, I called my dad that, does he have any friend that works in an NGO space that I have more than 10 certificates as an HIV preventive advocate? I've been trained by a lot of Canadian agency at that time. He now like, yeah, he has somebody. I have an uncle. He took me to my uncle, showed him all my papers, and he was like, oh, and my uncle that was working with FHI 360. That should meet him in the office the next week. And that was how I went to FHI 360 and, shared my interest, started volunteering with them, from there to data entry clinic, HIV preventive clinic, work started for me while I was waiting for my admission. And I was praying to God for my admission. So in summary, I used my 1 year of waiting for admission to start working, making money, raising money for my school fees, knowing that I was going to train myself for the next 5 years on that journey and on that decision. Since I've been told that it's either I choose to finish the school I was sent to do or choose for myself, and I choose for myself. And I started working in school from year 1 to year 2 to year 5. So my point is, that was how my education journey went. But while in school, when you're entering the departments to study who you are, every single thing they were teaching in class was just teaching me my future. I was interested in every single topic taught in public health. I started trying to interact with year 5 students just to find out how the journey has been. And as I went to interact with the current year 5 student, I realized that many of them did not even know what the course was about. I was now the one using my voice to let them know what public health was about. So then linking them to places they could do internship, volunteering. I became the link, started going from year 5 to year 4 to year 3 to year 2. I started hosting yearly, annual public health clarity sessions, with students just to make them realize what the course is about. And some people were even changing their course because they realized that, oh, they thought this course was this. Or some came to the department feeling this is a new selling course right now. After medicine and surgery, public health is the way, and all of those things, right? But while I was doing that, I started my organization while in school. But in all of this, every year, I always go back to God, especially around my birthday, to ask, am I still on track? What am I to do? But while doing that, remember I was sending myself to school at that time. I was also doing a lot with my hands for survival. I was making hair, I was selling bread, I was washing clothes, I was selling zobo. People were calling me Adek bread, Adek zobo. I was doing all manner of things just to make sure that I did not join the girls to trade my body to raise money. I wanted to work so hard by myself to see that I have my provisions. My purpose informed my decision. Then something happened before the formation of the organization. I went to my pastor because I believe that God speaks through his servants, of course. So I went to him and said, a new year is coming. You know, when there's Happy New Year, everybody's having New Year resolution, plans for the year. I just wanted to check in with God that I've not missed my path. And I went to the pastor, book appointment, and asked him that I want him to please tell me what God said that I am. That whatever he tells me, I can drop everything I've done to just obey to what God showed him that I am. He should please tell me what I should do, that I know how to do A, B, C, D, and Z. I showed him everything that I can do, and I told him some of the stories. And he looked at me and said, Adek, are you born again? I said, yes, sir. That all my life, I've been so close to God, I'm born again. So he was like, I'm not sure. Because if you are, you won't come here and tell me to play the role of the Holy Spirit. But you're asking me to play the role of the Holy Spirit. So if I tell you what to do now, will you do it? I say, yes. I say, why? I said, because you're the pastor. He said, we have the same access to God. As a pastor, you who is not a pastor, you can still make the same request and God will reveal who you are to you. And that was his response to me. He now said, let's pray. So I was expecting that the pastor was going to pray for you and give you all the clarity. And his prayers were simple. God, please show Adek who she is. Help her to make the decisions that she needs to make. She wants to serve you. Guide her in what to do. And he told me, that's it. I should go and come back in 2 weeks. That is very sure in 2 weeks, the Holy Spirit will show me who I am. And I should come back and tell him. I left that pastor's office angry, unsatisfied. I felt, so all my booking to see this pastor ended just like this. I should go and speak to, I've been praying to God and I've grown in 2 years. I'm in year 2 and I'm trying to make the right decision, So I used that anger and went into the school prayer garden, which was, I connect more with nature. The point line for you is you need to know what kind of environment do you connect more with in finding you. Some people is nature. Some people is locking yourself in the room. Some people is going to the mountain. There's an environment that enhances you to connect with your inner self. So for me, it's nature. And I went to the bush, the prayer garden, and I cried to God. And I prayed to God. Like I didn't even know when I fell into trance, and that was where the revelation of who I was came. I saw Adek from I saw the end of Adek from that point that I was. And the clarity of what I saw, the kind of things I was doing, what I was even wearing, what I was saying, the people that were fully packed in the hall, and I saw everything. And by the time I came out of that revelation, I was not even holding my pen and paper. I tried to scramble things on the floor so that I could remember some pointers of the things that I saw and ran back to the hostel, cut my pen and paper, came back and documented them. And at that point, that was where I stopped doing everything for survival. I stopped the bread selling. I stopped everything I was doing for survival to make money. And I started going all out to just speak to young people in giving them right information that will make them make informed choices, make their life better. My purpose, clarity was I am to use my voice and transform the lives of people. And when I did my analysis of which kind of people am I speaking to that need my voice, my analysis took me to the young people. And that informed every actions I took, from going to the hostel, going to the street, going to the community, gathering young people, speaking to them on different issues. I was watching live how people's lives were transforming, saving people from hard decisions. I was seeing results. to a point that when I was doing my final year convocation, because I started my organization in year 3, right? When I was doing my convocation, that's when I invited my parent, my mom, especially my mom, to come, because she didn't know what public health was about. She felt like, are you a doctor? I said, no. Then what are you? What did you go to do? So she was so curious to know what is my title. She told her friends in the village that daughter is a doctor. They will call me on phone and like, tell them how it's doing. Doctor will tell you what to do that it will make your stomach stop paining. I told her, Mommy, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a clinician. But I can tell them preventive things to do, not to have these situations. Right. So I invited my mom and the convocation went like an event. And that first guy in the previous school of environmental health, Williams, decided to be the anchor of that convocation. And I think I put it on Facebook then. I said, I'll be convocating on this day in this venue. Come celebrate with me. That was just what I wrote. The whole venue that I used was packed with over 100 people. As if it was an event. I came to my convocation venue and met crowd. I was asking, is that an event going on here? They said, no, they came for your convocation. My mom was there. She had cooked. So they should have told me you have people. I brought small food, So everybody went to the hall and Williams asked, who can share with us how your experience has been with Adek? Most of you knew Adek through different means, from College of Health to the first program that she did. Just tell us, how was your first encounter with Adek? My dear listeners, when people started sharing, oh, Adek spoke to me, Adek voice helped me, what I saw in that trance was playing out in that convocation. They were sharing how what I told them made them make the right decision, how their life was better. And my mom, myself, people were crying. And then my mom woke up and told me, this is what you said you are called to do. I was just nodding. She said, this is what public health. Do it. That time I've worked with street children. She was like, I support you. Do all that you need to do around this thing that you are doing. And that was where I was able to see my first harvest, that over the years, I have really transformed people's life. And it boosted my confidence to go all out. In 2018, even after my school, I resigned from a job I had that I was being paid $250, when you have a job to do that pays you money, then you now said you want to go all out because it was conflicting with the agency that employed you to pay you. They wanted you to do certain things for them, but it's limiting to who you are or to my expressions, right? So I didn't want to be trapped or be limited. I didn't want to, I was not using my voice to talk to people because I wanted to be paid. So the revelation and things to say comes, targets come. So if I said I want to go and speak to street children in this dorm site today, they'll tell me, no, that's not our work area. You should go and speak to the ones in this brothel, or you should go and do the ones here. Why are you trying to trap me? So it was a conflicting thing for me and my directives and my instructions that I was getting from he who sent me on this assignment. So I had to resign. And I told God, I'm going to trust you completely for what I eat, what I wear. When the Bible says, look at the bird in the air. That was my favorite storyline. Look at the birds in the air. Who feeds them? They don't think of what to eat, what to wear. So I was like, if God can do that to the birds of the air, me who he has sent on this assignment, so I should not worry about what to eat, what to wear, where to stay. I don't want to tell you the part I even stayed in class at some point because I didn't have where to stay. But in honesty, God became my provision. And 2018 till today, I haven't formally worked for anybody that is a survival job for me. And I went in to serve in Adamawa State as a core member in 2019. Then I had an engagement with even UNICEF in Calabar before going to Adamawa State. So I had good things that I should have come back to Calabar. But going to Adamawa State, I saw more issues than what I was trying to address in the city of Calabar. And that informed my decision to stay. And I was scared because there will always be fear for every point of decision you want to make around your purpose. I was now scared that I'm done with school now. Maybe I should go back to Calabar or go to Abuja. and get myself something in a space that people know me and I can get engagement and things going than being in a land that I know no one, and the things I was talking about, life skills, people did not even place value on them. And God asked me, has it been your effort all this while? Let me continue leading. To cut the whole story short, I stayed back in Adamawa State, 2019, ran my organization, established it there as well, 2020, started with my team. And right now we are like 6 years down the line in Adamawa State. And my organization is one of the strong, known youth organizations in Adamawa State that's implementing programs. We've received funding. A lot of transformation has happened. So I bettered a channel that allowed me express who I was. Working with different like minds of young people, together we're now solving problems affecting other young people in Nigeria across different communities. Today, I have young people across 11 states in Nigeria also providing solutions to issues that they identify. So we now have a stable structure that gives you access to millions of fundings, partners, making more impact. I mean, did I skip the part of traveling to countries at all expense paid just because of what you are using your voice to transform? Now, what I've just shown you is the struggle, the pains, the decisions. It doesn't make sense. If you were in my shoe at that stage of all of these things I was sharing, you might probably have followed others to say, you know what, after let me finish my environmental health and go and look for a job. Or you wouldn't have resigned. Or you wouldn't have stayed back in the city where you knew no one. You would have gone to where you had offers. You're following the bag of money to survive. You want to have things. And you will not reject the kind of offers that I have, because recently I have offers from agencies that want to pay me 2 to 3 million naira a month just to work for them. But I'm still saying no, because the assignment I have is still heavy on my table and my mission is not done yet. Because I'm supposed to burn out my youthful age doing this first before even embarking on the next step, which I will not reveal here. Right? So I'm now in my 30s. So from teenage age, I'm now in my 30s. I have just some years to finish being called a youth according to the African Charter of Youth Definition. So I am sticking to my plans according to my purpose. It doesn't make sense. It feels like you're making the wrong decision. I've given up going to masters. I mean, you guys have heard that story before. All of these choices I'm making is connected to the discovery and the clarity of who I am. And every day I embark or engage on my purpose, there are more work to do. In fact, recently, I feel like it's time to do more than what you've been doing. TFT has been established, is one structure. There are different structures on ground that need to also run. Because I'm wondering, how will the whole world hear my voice? How? There is a book that is already out there, launched 2023, that we've sold over 1,000 copies, which is empowering homes and women. That voice in that book is doing his own job, giving transformative results to the lives of young girls and women, correcting some mindset issues women and girls are making, even families. And every day is always of demand, because we get feedback from, I want to make a decision here. So I am ready to go more all out. So my point is, making choices like this doesn't usually make sense, but you should stick to the clarity of who you are. Automatically, this means I grew in school, and I'm still on the journey. And I know that most of you watching this, you are in your 40s, you are in your 60s. I've had clients in their 60s, and you're like, how do I go and start all over? I started all over, no regrets. Year 2, year 4, and then 5. So calculate 2, 4, 5. How many years in school? But no regrets. I enjoyed all of my finding experience process. And I'm so glad I went through all of those pathways. Did things happen to me that should break me? Yes. In that same teenage age, I got raped. And I lived the trauma for like 15 years till marriage. So a lot of things happen that should destroy you on your pathway of living purpose. But what keeps you going is when you decide to connect to He who sent you. Because you cannot, you living purpose is God design. You can't do it outside God. Because the earth will play out. Things, life will happen. But what keeps you going is your connection to who you said you are. And fixing your vision right in front of you. If you do so, the right people will be linked to you. Your steps will be ordered to the right place at the right time. Everything you are looking for to becoming who you said you are is already there, starting with the ones inside of you and the ones externally around you. But sometimes you are not conscious enough to even recognize them because you have not identified clearly who you said you are. Your relationship choices, your work choices, your career pathway. What is informing those decisions? Is it because you heard that, let me just get married and get settled? Or let me be in this field? Or let me be in this church? Or let me do this? Or some people have jumped from one country to another, one certification to another. Life is beyond that. Make sure you are able to separate the line. What is survival and what is living? And choose living because it is more profitable to live than survive. If I was earning salary, would I have gone to, how many countries have I gone to? How much? How much is flight tickets? How much would I have raised? Will I have a system that has transformed millions of lives? Nah. Maybe I would have even married wrongly. Sometimes we marry. Apostle said something recently that before you get married, if you don't know who you are, you will marry what is available, not who you need to express who you are. Because marriage is partnership. You need to identify who do you need to partner with you on the journey of who you are. If you miss that, you marry what is available or what you think, or marry the wrong person. And then when the result of that marrying wrong start happening, you start going back to God and like, God, please help me save my marriage. He has already helped you. All you have to do is fix your foundation right by finding who you are and sticking to who you are. So I want to believe that this personal story have showed you that this is relatable. You can do it. Just trust God. You know your plans. You know what you saw. If you have not seen it yet, now go back and watch all the episodes or stay connected to the end of the episodes because you are going to find you. And when your findings start coming, don't write it on your notepad and just keep it there. Don't plan to say, okay, I'll start doing this in the next 2 years or in the next 5 years. If you're going that route, you're already failing. Start it afraid. Start it as it comes. It might not be clear to you, just embark on the vision. Most visions get clearer every day as you embark on the journey. If you don't embark on it, you also not see other things in that vision. So just start it anyhow. What you need to start, you already have it. It's not the amount you're looking for. It's not the place. It's not the people you don't have. It's not all those excuses that you have. And don't look at your life and say you've gone too far. It's not a waste of life because it's also going to contribute to you solidifying who you are. All right. So see you in the next episode for another interesting segment that will come your way. And let's live and not survive. Thank you so much.